Hello, everybody. This is Love from Above by your Sibling Spirit Guides. I'm Maureen, and this is my brother.
Hey Maureen, hey everyone, this is Brian.
Oh my gosh. Hey, Brian, we're so happy to be here. If you can believe it, on this podcast, we share daily channelings received from star beings, ascended masters, mythical beings who really exist, and occasionally our ancestors. And today's topic is the power of familial love. Brian, it's all about you and me for this podcast, huh?
Sounds like it. Yeah, sounds good.
Yeah, and we're going to go into you think about it, whether it's like the Kennedys or the Kardashians. I mean, some families have like an innate power that you cannot deny. And so how can you bring this power to your own a familial bond? So we'll go over that today. Do you want to kick us off for the first one from September 12th of 2025?
Yep. And this was on partnerships and ancestors. So it says the question for the day is the impetus for love. The drawing of unique souls in a formal partnership has been a secure manner of formalizing the bonds of love in your unique culture. We look toward other societies that form in larger groups. The seminal form of idealized love in your earthly planes is the romantic partnership. There's much to be extolled about such a union. However, we search for greater unions. Imagine a mom and pop store. If you live in a town, you could buy your essentials from this mom and pop store. However, a major marketplace offers so many opportunities for you to connect. The same would be true should you elevate your connection status to a tribal or societal level. You admire those beings who have multiple connections, who work in multiple disciplines, for this is to be desired by all. Expand your limited partnerships into familial unions that shall expand the confines of your now limited worlds. So let me pause there. Does that make sense? It's interesting. I thought they were gonna say there's more connections at the mom and pop store, but they're saying just because the marketplace, there's so many more opportunities to connect with people. But
Yeah, I think it's where we're all moving to. So as we beings who communicate with us, they don't have individual identities. They are, a group. So if we're going to move towards that, then that would be identification with a group, whether it be, a fraternity, a sorority, a union, club. I mean, I know for our mother, like the literary club that our mother's in, like that's part of our mother's like core identity is that club. So yeah, I think it's just, and I haven't really thought about that, but I think that this is like a baby step to move towards that more group bonding that of all the beings that we hear from, right?
yeah, I see your point there. Yeah, interesting. But then they go on to say we feel sufficient education has been achieved with this topic. We move on to different aspects of familial love. The family unit is another source of bonds. These bonds can grow, expand, or contract and die depending on the usage of the frequent conversations between parties within these confined circles. We remind you of this even with regards to those who have passed. They can remain within your familial circle and offer a balancing point from a different perspective. Too often in your limited worlds, people forget those who have departed and are lacking in this way. The tomb sweeping days of the East, the honoring of the ancestors, is a worthy practice to be enjoyed for all. That is all. You've received these messages in the correct form. So, yeah, that's interesting that, you know, what's the tomb sweeping? I'm not familiar with all these practices, but I get their point is about remembering that those have passed. What are your thoughts on this subject?
Yeah, so the Tomb Sweeping Day is an official holiday. So my son lives in China and it's an official holiday. You get off and I've been over around that time and you can buy in the stores like all of these, you could buy like fake money, you could buy in, and it'd be like the Day of the Dead for the South American cultures where you really go like honor and I don't know. I mean, I have to talk to my son, but I guess you literally tomb sweep, but it's maintaining that connection and yeah, I mean, it's interesting. It's just interesting how that would give you a different perspective in your life if you are connected with those that have passed. And and so many cultures have that, whether it's South America or I know oceanic cultures have that as well, and definitely in Japan and China, and it's certainly lacking here in Western culture, but I know it's something that you have in your home where you have a picture of our grandparents and they've communicated with us that they like to visit. Uh, They somehow use that picture as a portal to access greater connectivity with you, right?
Yeah, they can see what's going on and they can, they can see, yeah, so that they appreciate that. So yeah, when we were away for a while and they weren't up, I think they have a way to connect with them. So I didn't realize that old pictures of ancestors provides that sort of portal, but it's clearly the case. So that's something to keep in mind. And yeah, hang up some old pictures of ancestors and keep them in your thoughts. And I don't know, it did say the one thing that was interesting, it said they can offer a balancing point from a different perspective, which is interesting. I didn't know what to make of that.
I
Um,
think that's what, so my sister-in-law, Brian's wife, was telling me, I just returned from China. One of my favorite things about being in China is literally you'll see this all the time. Like you could go in, and I used to do this almost every day. Like I'd go in and drop off my phone and my purse and my gym bag at this restaurant in the mall, and then I'd go to the bathroom or I'd walk around the mall until my son came to visit me and or meet me. And you can never do that. You can never do that in Europe and the West. But she was explaining that part of the reason why they do that is they believe the ancestors, you're connected to your ancestors and they could see that. Like if you would someone would pick up my phone or pick up my purse, like the ancestors could see that and they would frown upon that. So, yeah. So I think that that would offer you a totally different perspective if you believe that your ancestors are watching you. And let me tell you, I woke up
oh,
this morning and my room is filled with people. So people are, you're definitely not alone and people are watching you and supporting you.
yeah, in a good way too. I mean, it's not like they're watching.
Right, in a fabulous way, in a great way.
Right, right.
Yeah,
But yeah,
yeah,
they're absolutely your ancestors are can see what's going on in your life and your everyone in your family, what's going on with them, and they know exactly what's happening with everyone in your family. So, I think that's great.
yeah. So I'll go into the next one, which is families and the power of numbers. Again, we go back to this mathematics, which is we've got received so many channelings on the importance of mathematics, and they start with the number one, which they said is a primary element representing the indivisible life force of the one creator through which all life flows. The one, for we are all part of the one creator. Any separation is indeed an illusion. We all fall in the same direction of growth and expansive love. Many turn to the angels or ascended masters like Jesus and Mary as examples of those who've transcended the life form. In truth, these are beings like yourselves, continually growing and expanding within the light of the one Creator. We all grow and develop and face our turning points that allow us to turn in a new direction. We provide further examples with the number two. The two represents partnership, which is reflective of the individual's indivisible nature with the Creator. The most powerful relationships are when each source is fully recognizable. We shall continue to grow and develop in the intertwining of the love and the light of the one Creator. Next, we shall proceed with the number three, which represents a greater union and the opportunity to balance love one has for itself with the one love one develops and fosters for the primary group or tribe they're associated with. These groups or familial units have the ability to harness great power. You may watch as some families leapfrog above others in certain aspects of wealth, prestige, or money. This is due to the ability to harness the great force of love within the familial units. So, isn't that interesting, Brian? I mean, you can use your family or a tribe or whatever to harness the love to help you to leapfrog ahead with regards to wealth or prestige or whatever you're interested in. It makes sense.
Yeah, yeah, it is interesting. Gosh, I thought when they said number three, I've heard that number one, we've heard about that before, and the same with number two, but I've heard different things for three, like it's the Holy Trinity or different things like that. So I thought that's what they're gonna say, but that's an interesting way how they put it to develop that primary group that you're associated with further. So, and like you said, to leapfrog. So that's, yeah, I think that's really interesting.
Yeah, and it's something that's definitely true and it can resonate with you look within, our society. But, how did those families, how were they able to harness that great power? And yeah, so I find it fascinating. You want to continue with the next one, which is from the Palladians.
Yeah. So from October 18th of last year, the importance of families from the Pleaidians. The third pleasantness we shall share today is with regards to the expansiveness of love between parties. This is why the familial unit is important in your culture, or why groups can provide strong structural support to the individual being. Again, we say that love expands in a numeric capacity that is yet to be understood in your primitive worlds. If you would rush out and join that book club or that gym, sign up for the party that best suits you, it assimilates your personal needs. For these group structures are essential for building the core elements of loving relationships. So it's interesting that I was going to say, again, it comes down to the love expands in a numeric capacity that is yet to be understood in our primitive worlds.
Yeah,
So
you gotta love the primitive world
I
addition,
know
right? We
it's
think we're so modern with all our technology, and no, we live in a primitive world.
and it's like they say it's like right in front of us, and no one under scientists, no one understands that there's this like numeric thread that is the essence of all life that is so visible that you know none of us understand. So I don't know. One day we'll get there. I'm sure of it, but I don't know when that'll be. But it's interesting. I think that's something to look forward to.
Well, you know what? Reading this, so since I'm always traveling the world, like I used to have, groups used to be really important to me, and I belong to many. I don't know, Brian, I gotta like sign up for some, like, I'm sure there's online groups, you know what I mean? But yeah, because I really don't have, I have a lot of important relationships in my life that I value and I'm grateful for. But I don't really have any groups since I'm always on the move.
Yeah, I'm sure there's definitely online spiritual groups or whatever type of groups that you'd want to join. But yeah, we'll have to look at that.
Yeah, I'm going to put that on my list of things to do. That's for sure. So I'll close us off with something from the Ashanti. I think that's like a tribe from Africa. But anyway, we heard this is the only message we ever got from this group called the Ashanti. And I put this as a possible future for Earth because they said we hail from a difficult, warlike beginning, but we ascended through peaceful interactions with our cellular group. This is the benefit of a tribal nation. They grow so they move through time space as one heartbeat, which brings much joy to thee. So it sounds like they were able to elevate themselves by working with a tribe. So all of these messages are talking about tribes, groups. Yeah. What are your thoughts, brother?
Yeah, so it's interesting how they don't really see, they just ascended through peaceful interactions. But yeah, I'd like to know a little bit more. But do you know, it's something we can look up maybe on the Shanti group, but it's interesting, but I wish they give us a little bit more on exactly how that happened or, some more details. But I guess though it does align perfectly with the messages of today. So it's something that how you can transcend if, as a group with the right support and love. So it makes sense.
Yeah. So a final closing, people. This is like the most exciting news. We've talked about this and we've talked about this and we've talked about this, but volume one of the channelings that we pull these podcasts from is going to be published online and on paperback on 11/11 of this year. So you can go on and pre-order a copy if you would like. And we're very excited. We've grouped this. It's just exactly as they came in, and I've really kept true to the integrity of the work. And so yeah, check it out. Any thoughts about that, brother?
Yeah, so I mean, it'll be on Amazon. I think it'll be on every electronic. It'll be on Apple and Nook and other electronic. And then I think the paperback would just be on Amazon. But so there's either paperback or electronic versions for, any electronic format. So yeah, so you can pre-order today and it'll be ready on 11/11. So yeah, and then now that we have it down, Maureen, I think we'll be able to process down, sort of replicate this pretty quick to get the future volumes out pretty quickly, don't you think?
Yeah, so I'm already working on volume two, which is really, really fascinating. There's so many, and I think that's because it's like with anything, like as process has gone on, like I've become more skilled at channeling. And yeah, so we've got some, volume two will be subsequent to this, and we're just going to keep on putting them out there for y'all as long as the messages are coming in.
Yeah, should be good. Looking forward to getting it out to everyone. I think there's a lot of even just looking at there, I forget about all these great messages. And so we've only touched on a fraction of the messages that we've received. So I think there's a lot of value from just reading them. I know I got a lot out of it. So hope you are all interested and keep your eye out for that. And if you're interested, you can pre-order today. So thanks for your support, and we'll talk to you next time.